Now, I used to ask my students all the time, what are you most afraid of when it comes to your brand new real estate career? What is the one thing that intimidates you with your brand new real estate career? And the answer I commonly get often is contracts. So today, it's a bonus one today. Today we're gonna talk about contracts, particularly the residential listing agreement. You want that listing, you gotta be prepared, and you have to understand what type of listing agreements are out there. Today, just for you, we're gonna have the residential listing agreement. Stay tuned. Glad you made it to today's episode, because today's gonna be a beefy one. It's gonna be solid, and I want you to learn the whole listing agreement. You're gonna go visit the seller, and you're gonna make your presentation, and you're gonna wanna win that listing, because the minute you sign that listing contract with the seller, you're guaranteed, almost guaranteed, a commission. Again, it all depends on what contract you sign, on what residential listing agreement you have your seller sign. But before we go there, where do we find these listing agreements? Where do you get them? Where do you find them? Over at Staples? Do you find them at Rite Aid? Do you buy them online? You get these contracts, all the documents required for a real estate transaction at the California Association of Realtors. Now, the minute you become a member of the California Association of Realtors, you can have access to every single document. The listings, the disclosures, you name it, you're gonna find it there, which is a beautiful thing, because that's gonna be your tools. So let's start off with the residential listing agreement. Number one, we call that the exclusive authorization and right to sell. That is a beautiful contract. Now, why is that such a beautiful contract? Because the name of the game, ladies and gentlemen, is commitment. Commitment between you and your seller. You both are committed to each other. And that contract is the most committed you can be with each other. When you sign that on behalf of your brokerage and your seller signs that, you're saying, I'm with you 100%. What a beautiful relationship can flourish with that contract. Now, what does that mean? It means this. It means the seller saying, Mr. or Mrs. Agent, thank you for representing me. I will gladly sign this residential listing agreement, exclusive authorization and right to sell, which means all you have to do, Mr. or Mrs. Agent, is bring me a buyer who's ready, willing, and able, and I will pay you the commission that we agreed upon. Now, let me make this clear. In a balanced market, the seller will typically, stick with me, in a balanced market, the seller will typically pay the listing agent 6% commission of the sales price. You with me? Now, you're smart, you're a business person, you have a real estate license. So they're giving you this pot of gold, this amount of money to go find them a buyer. Now, you have to utilize this commission carefully, that's $60,000. Now, the first thing you're gonna do, of course, is you're gonna place it on the MLS. And you're gonna tell all the buyer's agents, hey, come on and bring me a buyer. In a sense, you'll give them 3% and you'll keep 3%. No matter what you're getting paid, man. No matter what you're getting paid. Let's assume your seller comes home one day from work and they give you a ring, they give you a phone call. And they say, hello, Mr. or Mrs. Agent, how are you? This is Mr. Seller. I want to let you know that I was talking to Chuck, a good friend of mine at my job, and he said he'll buy my house. So Mr. and Mrs. Agent, I don't need you. I don't have to pay you commission. Wrong. The minute you sign that exclusive authorization and right to sell, it doesn't matter who brings you the buyer, you're getting paid. This is why that contract, that listing, that exclusive authorization right to sell is beautiful. It's full commitment. Anytime anybody brings you a buyer, you're gonna handle it on behalf of the seller. Whether it be another agent who brings you a buyer or the seller themselves who brings you a buyer, it's a beautiful day because you're guaranteed commission. Got it? That's exclusive authorization and right to sell. Nice and simple. The second most popular one is called exclusive agency. Exclusive agency. Now, listen to the word there. Exclusivity. Exclusivity, which means you're going to represent the seller and do the best you can for the seller. However, there's one phrase missing. And that phrase that's so important that's missing is authorization of right to sell. Which means if the seller themselves bring a buyer, the same scenario we just discussed. Seller goes to work, seller comes home, seller calls you and says, hey, I got a buddy Chuck who wants to buy my property. I didn't use your services after all. Seller has the right to sell the property, not use your services, and guess what? You did not earn a commission. That's the biggest difference. Authorization and right to sell. You don't have it if you have them sign the exclusive agency. So my recommendation, of course, is don't use the exclusive agency. Stick to the residential listing agreement that's titled exclusive authorization and right to sell. That will guarantee you commission if you sell the property. Utilizing that commission as a bonus for those out there who have buyers that might be interested in your listing. Now, the third type of listing is the open listing. The open listing. Now that's almost, in my opinion, laughable. An open listing is a seller who says, hey, all you agents out there, come on in. I want to sign a contract with you. I want to sign a contract with you, Mr. Agent. How about agent number 2? How about agent number 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10? All of you have to dedicate yourselves to me. All of you have to go out and promote my property. Advertise if you want. Spend money if you want. Spend time if you want. But I'm only paying one. The one that brings me the buyer is going to get paid. So now you as an agent are competing with many other agents. Are you going to want to spend time and money on somebody who's not willing to commit to you? On a seller who says, I want to see several people. What kind of a relationship is that? An open relationship. Let's see tons of people. It's a seller saying, I like to hire you, and you. And the only one I'm going to pay a commission is to the one that brings me the buyer. Let's review these one more time. Nice and simple. The name of the game is commitment. Name of the game is having a commitment with your seller 100%. First type, exclusive authorization and right to sell. Doesn't matter who brings you the buyer, as long as you find somebody who's ready, willing, and able, and you utilize that commission amount by splitting it with somebody else. So say, hey, if you bring me a buyer agent, bring them on down. If we get into contract and close a deal, I will give you a portion of my commission. Seller brings you a buyer. Seller says, hey, I got Chuck who wants to buy the house from my job. You tell your seller, thank you, Mr. Seller. I appreciate that. Have Chuck contact me and I will take care of that also. Still valid contract. Exclusive authorization and right to sell, beautiful. Should be the only one you should be using. Should be the only one that you use during your real estate career. Exclusive agency, which means that the seller can compete with you. Now, why would you want the seller to compete with you? Well, that's what the exclusive agency allows. When you see that question on the state exam, remember, exclusive agency, the seller has a right to compete with you. Now, don't be fooled. Exclusive agency and exclusive authorization right to sell, they both start with the word exclusive. Don't be fooled. Keyword here is right to sell. One of them commits, the other one not so much. And last but not least, the third one, open listing. That's a free-for-all, man. That's the seller having the ability to hire 10, 20, 50, several agents and saying, help me out. Go out and promote my property. However, the only one that's going to get paid is the one that finds that buyer for me. Somebody who's ready, willing, and able. Those are the 3 most popular listing agreements in the real estate world. Now, where can you find them? Where can you find these listings? At the California Association of Realtors, along with all the other disclosures required for a real estate transaction. Hope this helps you out. If you have any questions regarding this, leave them down below. But again, it's all about commitment. It's all about commitment. Now let me share something else with you. In my 25-year real estate career, I've only had one person, and I won't call them a client because I didn't take the listing, who wanted me to agree to an open listing. I prefer commitment. So you guessed it, I declined that listing. I said, I do not want to get involved in an open listing. I prefer commitment. Rarely does it happen. Got it? Fantastic. Hope this helps you out. Hey, let me remind you, if you're interested in a real estate career, every first week of every month, we have free webinar classes right now. Take advantage of it. Check out our website, www.carealtytraining.com. Hope to see you next week.